They say monsters are born in the darkness, but Albert Wesker wasn't born, he was created. Taken from his parents at a young age by Oswell Spencer, Wesker was raised inside one of the secret facilities where the Spencer Project took place. His real name, his childhood, all erased in the name of science. The name Wesker wasn't a family name, it was a designation given to a select group of children engineered to be the next step of human evolution. Each one was part of a grand experiment to find those who could achieve immortality through the virus. From this project, two survived: Albert Wesker and Alex Wesker. They were the only one who truly understood Spencer's vision. In their minds, humanity was weak, corrupted, and undeserving of its place on Earth. Just like the Creator, they believed that the only strong should survive. That evolution was not a choice, but a law of nature. While others started to preserve life, Albert started to control it. He devoted himself to biotechnology, not to cure the world's sickness, but to redefine what it means to be human. And that is where the truth begins. Wesker's mind was something special. His grades were far above normal, and his potential was impossible to ignore. In 1977, he was recruited by the Umbrella Corporation, a company that claimed to heal the world but secretly chased power through dangerous science. The boarding school where Wesker lived was closed a year later, in 1978, after being labeled unproductive. Still, Umbrella eyes never left him, or even his classmate, a 16-year-old genius named William Birkin. Together, they showed a mix of talent and a cold streak that made them useful to Umbrella. Dr. James Marcus, head of Umbrella's pharmaceutical division, trusted them. He brought the two young men into the secret Arkley laboratory as chief researchers. There, they worked on a T-virus, and they did something unexpected. Wesker and Birkin managed to create a modified strain, a version of a virus that could better bypass the immune system. And in some tests, it even increased the chance of survival for infected subjects. What sounded like progress to some looked like danger to others. Ambition and fear grew together. By 1988, Oswell Spencer had grown worried about what Marcus and his projects had achieved. Instead of protecting Marcus, Spencer gave a dark order. He told Wesker and Birkin to remove him. That decision changed everything. It marked a point where science, power, and murder met, and where Wesker stepped further away from being just a researcher. In 1988, Albert Wesker and William Birkin carried out the darkest order that they ever had received. They assassinated Dr. James Marcus, the man who had once trusted them, and the man who had helped shape who they were. Umbrella wanted Marcus 10 years of research for themselves. After the murder, Wesker and Birkin recovered all of his data, continuing his work on the T-virus project. The next step was something called Tyrant, a virus mutation designed to create the perfect biological weapon. But there was one problem. Only 1 in a million people had the genes strong enough to survive the infection. So the main T-virus project was put on hold, and the Umbrella focused fully on Tyrant experiments. Later, Wesker and Birkin managed to obtain a BOW prototype developed by Umbrella Europe, a creature that could finally follow complex commands. It looks like the solution they were searching for. Their first real test subject was Lisa Trevor, a woman whose body had survived countless experiments before, but her immune system was too strong. It killed the virus before it could take control. Yet from her body they discovered something new, a strange mutation known as the G virus or Golgotha. This discovery led to William Birkin's transfer to the S.T.A.R.S laboratory. Wesker, however, began to lose faith. He no longer understood what Spencer truly wanted: immortality, power, or control over life itself. So he made his choice. He left the Arkley lab behind and joined Umbrella Intelligence Division, hoping to find the answers that science alone could not give him. It was no longer about discovery, it was about the truth. By the early 1990s, Albert Wesker had already walked away from Umbrella to the world he was just under ex-employee, a brilliant scientist who had quietly vanished from corporate records. But behind the scene, Wesker began taking other jobs. He had experience that very few people in the world possessed: a deep understanding of biotechnology and viral weapons. In 1991, he even served in the US Army, where his knowledge was considered extremely valuable. Many believe his work was secretly linked to the Pentagon's illegal bioweapons project, the kind of work that could never exist on official paper. Around this time, Wesker met a Serbian immigrant woman from Estonia. Her last name was Muller. The two became close, and for a short time, it seems like Wesker had found something human in his life again. But that feeling didn't last. He soon lost interest and walked away, never realizing that she was pregnant with his child, a boy who would be named Jake Muller. Jake would grow up never knowing who his father really was, while Wesker continued down his dark path, a man without a master, shaping his own destiny in a world filled with viruses, lies, and betrayal. By 1996, after leaving the military, Albert Wesker found his way into a new organization, a privately founded special forces unit known as S.T.A.R.S. Officially, S.T.A.R.S was created to fight the growing threat of domestic terrorism across the United States. But in truth, it was something far more sinister: a private army for the Umbrella Corporation, operating right under the government's nose. Wesker was chosen for his discipline, intelligence, and combat experience. He quickly rose through the ranks and became the captain of the Alpha team. To everyone around him, he looked like a capable, confident leader, the kind of man others would trust with their lives. For the next 2 years, Wesker worked closely with his teammates, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Brad Vickers, and Joseph Frost. He trained beside them, went on missions with them, and earned their complete trust, all part of his cover. To Umbrella, he was still a loyal agent. To S.T.A.R.S, he was their leader and protector. But deep down, Wesker knew the truth. He was simply a tool of deception. waiting for the right moment to betray them all. That moment was coming soon, and it would begin in a quiet place called Raccoon City. While S.T.A.R.S was preparing for the mission, Wesker and Birkin were still working for Umbrella. This time supervising the reporting of an executive training facility. It was meant to replace the lost Arkley laboratory. But everything was wrong again. A colony of mutated leads attacked the facility, wiping out two armed research teams and infecting the passengers of a private train that was carrying key Umbrella stuff. To stop this spread, Wesker and Birkin decided to destroy the entire facility. During the operation, Wesker crossed paths with Colonel Vladimir, a high-ranking Umbrella commander from the UBCS unit. Umbrella's headquarters soon learned about the outbreak, forcing Wesker to evacuate before the facility was blown up. That night changed everything for him. He realized Umbrella no longer had control, and maybe never did. Soon after, Wesker accepted an offer from a rival company in exchange for handing over T-virus embryo samples. Instead of returning them to Umbrella, the plan was simple: betray Umbrella and disappear. On the evening of July 24, 1998, Wesker led Alpha Team into the Arkley Mountains, exactly as he had planned. Before the mission, he secretly injected himself with a mutated T-virus, hoping it would grant him superhuman strength and regeneration, just in case things went wrong. When they arrived at the crash site of Bravo Team helicopter, they found the dead body of pilot. Moments later, the team was ambushed by Cerberus creatures. Joseph Frost was killed, and Brad Vickers panicked and flew away in the helicopter, leaving everyone behind. Wesker helped save Chris Redfield from another attack, and together with the survivors, they took shelter inside the Spencer mansion. Inside the mansion, Wesker ordered everyone to split up and investigate different areas. But behind the scenes, he was working on something far darker. He secretly threatened Barry Burton, forcing him to help cover up Umbrella's experiments by claiming his family lives were in danger. And when Wesker discovered that Captain Enrico Marini had survived and possessed evidence against Umbrella, he hunted him down and shot him in the underground tunnels before Enrico could warn the others. That night, the mansion became a tomb, and Wesker's plan was just beginning. Deep inside the underground lab, Albert Wesker was preparing for the final step of his plan, to awaken the tyrant and let it destroy the remaining S.T.A.R.S members. Moments before activating the creature, Wesker injected himself with a mutated T-virus strain, hoping to gain strength beyond human limits. He knew what he was about to do would kill him, but he also knew he would never truly die. When the survivors confronted him, Wesker finally revealed the truth. He confessed that he had been working for Umbrella all along, and that everything, every death, every mission had been part of a much longer plan. Then, with cold precision, he released the T-002 Tyrant from its chamber. But the creature recognized Wesker as one of his creators, and instead of following his command, it turned it on him. In a flash, the tyrant impaled Wesker through the chest. throwing him aside like a broken doll, before turning on its rage towards the others. It seemed like Wesker was dead, but deep inside of his body, the virus that he injected had already begun to work. It rebuilt his cells, strengthened his muscles, and brought him back to life. When he opened his eyes again, he was lying on an empty room, reborn, faster, stronger, and colder than ever before. The lab's self-destruct system had already been tricked, and with clonal Vladimir and the Red Queen AI restricting computer access, Wesker couldn't retrieve any data or samples for a rival company. He fought his way through the chaos, even encountering Lisa Trevor one last time, barely escaping the mansion's destruction. But thanks to his enhanced body and incredible speed, he survived the explosion. To the world and to Umbrella itself, Albert Wesker was dead, but in truth, he had just been reborn. And the world had no idea what was coming next. So yeah, that's the end of part 1 of the truth of Albert Wesker. What do you guys think so far? Let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, stay tuned for part 2.